Hello, and welcome to Stop Let's Team Up presents Those Daring Defenders, episode 31. And I have Kirby with me this time. Kirby is a lover of the Defenders. Say hello, Kirby.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you for bringing me on to talk about my favorite Marvel team.
I had to describe the Defenders to my wife in the grocery store last night.
What was the elevator pitch?
She got a little confused. Like, she didn't know who the fuck any of these people were. She knew.
Yeah.
I said to go. It was the first Valkyrie, but she was in the body of this crazy whack job. And she's my Valkyrie, and then it was this Batman analog called Nighthawk. She had no idea, and I said the Hulk, Doctor Strange, who she knew, Luke Cage, Yellowjacket, and I said it's not that, because I like what the MCU's done, kind of having there be both Hank and Scott and Maria and Janet all at one time. I kind of like that. Mm-hmm. And that Hank, instead of being a founding Avenger, is one of the world's first superheroes. Because I like that him and Janet were not contemporaries of Caps, but were the next generation of superheroes. But it was a hard pick. It was hard, and I said it was supposed to be a non-team, like they weren't really a team, but they kept calling themselves by name and blah, blah, blah. But then I've talked about Gerber in this year and how it could be superhero-y and then because her brother when my wife and her little brother were like 5 and 7, their mom thought Howard the Duck was a good kids movie. This just came out and took him, and Blake is still scarred from the monsters at the end of it. And I was like, really? Pussy. No. But just, so we go, the conversation turned to that. I said it was written by the guy who created Howard the Duck, and it becomes a satire. We are not there yet. Not for a bit, but I think I've said this before, but as much as I am a huge Englehart fan, his Defenders will always be second fiddle to Gerber's. Because I don't think there's a better run on it than Gerber's.
Yep, so I'm starting with the Essentials Volume 2. This is where I picked it up in college. It was, summer. I needed something to read. They didn't have Volume 1. So, when I eventually found Volume 1 years later, that was kind of like, oh, this is just the prologue to the actual series when Gerber takes over.
Yeah.
So how I was kind of
the Avengers Defenders War is great. It works better as just kind of like a graphic novel. I mean, I've had that in 3 different trade versions, and now I've got the Epic. No, wait a minute. Do I have that in Epic? No, I've got that in 2 places. I have 2 copies of it. I've got it in an Avengers Volume 4? Omnibus 4? Yeah. Because his first 2 arcs are in that, and then the rest of his Englehart is in Omnibus 5. And it's in Volume 1 of... Is it in Volume 1 of? Yeah, and it's in Volume 1 of the Omnibus. So where is this in the Epic, in the Essentials? Is it...
in the Essentials, it's in... it's, right in the middle of Volume 2, so it just comes, between, the 2 giant size that you and Billy talked about, and then the next giant size.
Yeah. What's the last thing in that one?
It's the Howard the Duck Treasury where...
so this is only missing 5 issues of what this epic is. And this omnibus has the Marvel 2-in-1 2-part and Defenders that go before that giant size. I guess they're in Epic 1, Essential 1.
Yeah. Because this Essential has one of the funniest because they list everything on the front cover. And it's Defenders 15 through 30, giant size 1 through 5, Marvel 2-in-1 6 through 7, Marvel Team Up 33 through 35, Marvel Treasury. So it takes up a paragraph. No, it's the exact same stuff. Yeah, it's the exact same stuff in the Essentials in the Omnis.
Oh, okay. This Omni is thin. It's a thin Omni. Because I've learned that most Omnis are 3 masterworks. Depending on the size of the masterworks is kind of how they're mapping them. And I think they're using the Epic mapping now, if I'm understanding what I'm hearing on different podcasts. But I like what they're doing because they do add so much. This also has... The Omni also has the first appearance of the Guardians of the Galaxies in it.
Yeah, which this one does too.
Oh, does yours also have the first appearances of Chandu and all the Headmen's first appearances?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Which is what I thought was cool. Yeah, because I've got Weird Wonder Tales 7, which has.
Oh, then no. Sorry. Never mind. Then.
Yeah, that's where the scientist gets his head put on an ape body.
Because I know, maybe I've just read that story in flashback then in these.
Yeah, the Wrath of Chandu's in this. So when we get to the Headmen, I think I might have you and Billy on at the same time when we get to do the Headmen, because they're my favorite. That story goes on for so long with the brain swamping. It's so good. Have you ever listened to Tighten Up the Defense?
No, I haven't. I know I need to. It's just finding the time.
It's worth it, because especially when they're doing the Defenders, because they hate Jack Norris.
Oh, you took my thunder for when I was gonna.
Oh no. We'll talk about it. Let's get started, folks. We're gonna get started because we're gonna cover four issues today. So let's get started. So we're starting with Defenders 22. Which was released on January 21st, 1975, cover dated April 1975. It is a Gil Kane, Joe Sinnott, and Gaspar Saladino cover, which has the Hulk, Doc Strange, and Nighthawk battling the Sons of the Serpents. It's a great cover. It's when covers actually showed you what happened in the book. And I like this. I remember being when you go to the magazine racks. Sometimes you wouldn't, on the comic rack, this is when Marvel made sure that the reason they had corner boxes and faces at a certain point on the cover and that black line above the art was that so that people could see the cover and the issue number. They didn't, because sometimes you couldn't see what was you could only see certain comics on the rack, and on the newsstand. So I'm remembering grabbing stuff in the 7-Eleven. I mean, literally. In 75, I would have been riding my bike up to the High Store on Fort Hunt Road in Northern Virginia and buying comics off there. I hadn't discovered my favorite.
I know exactly what story you're talking about.
Or I would go to the comic book store, which was the name of the comic book store in Thieves Market that I used to go to. And then was on Route 1 across from Old Mount Vernon High School, which is now the Islamic School. So, and when that was at Jeppy's, I managed it. So, but I remember this in these kind of covers, and I just do like this one. What do you think of this cover?
I think, this is, I'm sorry, you said it was Gil Kane?
Yeah, it's Gil Kane pencils, Joe Sinnott inks, and Gaspar Saladino letters.
Yep, no, I like that. It's real action-packed, and like I said, they show what's in the book, which is still the case, I feel, probably up until, the 90s is when that really starts to shift, or is it earlier?
It's the late 80s, early 90s. It's about when they started doing all those the weird foil covers and stuff, and trying to, and they've done it again. They do it again. I'm buying variant covers, but I only buy the Tony Harris ones for the Justice Society, because they're going to become art in my wall. The creative people on this and folks, we're going to talk about inkers. But let's talk about the other guys. Steve Gerber, woohoo, writer, penciler, the amazing Sal Buscema, Slammin' Sal, or whatever, I forget what his nickname is. We'll see it at some point. Mike Esposito inks, Stan Goldberg colors, Charlotte Jeter letters, and the editor, the amazing Len Wein. Roll call: Hulk, Doc Strange, Valkyrie, Nighthawk. We see Jack Norris, not for the first time. I guess it's his first appearance, but we see him in the shadows.
Yep.
Aragon, the Sons of the Serpents, Klee and Wong are in the background. And I'm going to give the synopsis from the fandom wiki. Oh, the title of the story is Fangs of Fire and Blood. When her thoughtful wandering brings her into the slums in New York, Valkyrie witnesses a few of its ills, including a knife fight and a poorly maintained tenement. There she rescues a small child from a rat and offers the child and her mother's sanctuary at Doctor Strange's sanctum. Agreeing to help out the late... Oh, good God, man. Did I type this shit? This is really bad. Agreeing to help out Alina and her child and curious about her living conditions, the defenders go to pick up some of her things. At Alina's apartment, they find that it's being firebombed by the Sons of the Serpent, who are attacking the tenement to eliminate those they do not meet their ideal of ethnic purity. Battling the defenders, the Sons of the Serpents are easily defeated and sent running. However, they vow to come back in force and to destroy the area. So I'll let you go first. What did you think of the comic overall? This year.
So just this first issue, I think it's a really good. So it starts with like how a couple of Defenders stories starts with just one of the members just walking through the streets of New York, and as we kind of talk, like kind of one of the more rundown parts in the 70s and all of that. It's just one of those, like, Steve Gerber does not hold back on a lot of the themes he's talking about, like, right away, which is very nice. Sal Buscema, I've been spoiled on reading a lot of his pencils and inks lately.
Yeah. How's that ROM art looking, isn't it? Yeah. He has good inkers on that too. So when he eventually they make him take on an inker. But what about the inks on this one?
I think the Mike Esposito inks here are totally fine. Again, I'm reading these in the black and white essential, so I can really kind of focus, I think, on the inks, which is really nice. That's
good. I mean, there is a different inker in each of these 4 parts, and they are, I feel, it's diminishing returns on the quality of the inks. And 2 of the inkers are people I've bad-mouthed viciously sometimes on this podcast. But one is someone who I've always really, really liked, and I was surprised by my thoughts. I think Mike Esposito's are fine. I think he doesn't change anything.
Nope.
It is very Sal, because there's some really good Sal stuff in this. His action, people, I still don't think you can beat it. The way people get thrown around and tossed, and punched. And the scene where Val fights this giant rat, man, he can draw a scary rat, and he does a lot.
Yeah.
Gerber brings him up a bunch, I've noticed. In like every arc, there's a rat.
It would not surprise me if Gerber was having to deal with those himself in New York at the time.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, we would see it on the news every day how bad it was. And you watch some of these classic cop movies from the 70s set in New York, and like... Yeah, it's just, just stuff was run down in certain neighborhoods, and it was terrible.
Taxi Driver is not an exaggeration. They were just filming on the streets.
Oh, yeah. It was terrible. But I like that I love Valkyrie. She is one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time. I like her, the fish out of water, discovering a new life. Am I really who I say I am? She doesn't even realize that she is Broomhilda at this point. She thinks she's still a construct of some sort. She's not sure who is real, Barbara Norris or her. And Barbara Norris was a terrible person. And I'm doing this reread and covering it for the podcast. I was like, God, I forgot how horrible Barbara Norris was. She was an unrepentant villain. She was a villain. But I always liked Val, and I like that. I did like the trick of when she puts her sword in its thing, she goes back to her street clothes.
Yeah, I mean, like Val, she's the through line throughout the entire run. She's at 4 and she never leaves, and that's just kind of one of the reasons she's my favorite. Is she gets a lot of the focus.
Yeah, well, she's the most interesting of the character. I'm not as big. I mean, I like Kyle because he's next, and we find him. He's still grieving Trixie, who lost her arm in Giant Size 3. The daughter of Egghead. And he's grieving. He's at a party with some ex-girlfriend of his who's unhappy that she didn't get picked, but she's nice. She's just a little jealous. And he meets this creepy landlord. He looks like, I don't know if they're trying to make him look like Robert Redford in Towering Inferno or something, or he's very blonde and the white tuxedo top and the frilly shirt.
Oh, I'll take your word on the coloring there, but I can see the Redford now that you say that. I can definitely kind of see it.
Yeah, but he's wearing he's got a white tuxedo top, a light blue frilly shirt, a white bow tie, navy blue pants, a white cummerbund, and So I don't know if the blue's supposed to be black, probably, but it is very dapper. But I do like when we get to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and Clea and Hulk are playing with the baby.
Don't let Hulk near a baby.
Aw,
Have you
look,
guys never seen Frankenstein?
Yeah, well, I think he's a little more sensitive than Frankenstein. But no, I kind of like it, and Wong and everything. And then Jack Norris is creeping. He's looking for his wife, and he's peeking. How can you get to the window and peek into Stephen Strange's house and him not know? Well, how shitty are your defenses, Steve?
Is there not a basic like invisibility spell or something where it's like you don't recognize it at all? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, I think they wrote that in later. That he's hidden. It's hidden, which is silly, just as silly. But if you don't have those silly things, you don't have them there for Kurt Busiek to use in Astro City, because that's what I kind of like about Astro City. All these weird, dumb things. You go, oh, I know where you got that. Oh, I know where you got that.
Yeah.
But then the Sons of the Serpent pop up and firebomb. And this is an upsetting page. I read it. When they firebomb it, it lands on a blind African-American tenant's house. And he describes it, how the fire creeps up until he feels it, until he catches fire. I'm surprised this didn't pass code. That this passed code.
There's a lot in these 4 issues that I'm surprised passed the code.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It gives it meat, because they hear about the fire and they fly over to get her stuff, and they get there and the building's on fire. We find out, Elena finds out old Amos, which is the blind guy's dad, and how the neighbor thought she was in it, and then that Holloman, the skeezy real estate guy that wanted to make a deal with Kyle at the party, shows up and starts a fight with the African American tenants. He's just he's just absolutely racist, and he spits on this dude. Well, where?
Yeah, no. This guy, he would have been rightfully beaten if not for the defenders kind of getting him out of the way a bit.
Yeah, no. Doc Strange is like, no, I'm going to separate everybody. But then the Serpents set the street on fire and start, it starts a fight. And Hulk and the Defenders are kicking these racist people's butts along with the tenants. But then Doc Strange realizes it's getting out of hand, and he separates them all with the fire hoses. And it ends on the cliffhanger with the Serpents running away. And the Defenders just standing there, it's a nice cliffhanger. And that was I think this is in an era where you could read a comic. This is the perfect formula, and it's done still today, where you have action, you have something happen in each issue, but you move a greater plot along.
Mm-hmm.
So for 20, what is this? Oh, God, they don't have the page numbers in it. 22-page story, probably. You get action, you get setup, you get exposition, you get character stuff. It's not too wordy. I don't think Gerber is as wordy as some of his contemporaries.
No. This read much quicker than at the time where a Roy Thomas does.
Or Claremont.
Or Claremont's almost in another league.
Yeah, but
when it comes to that.
Yeah, so. But still, I still like his X-Men the best. Because I'm reading Modern Avengers right now, and it's fuck all. Could someone say something? I cannot say anything. I'm going to take Avengers off my list for the first time in maybe 25 years.
Yeah, you have never said. I have not heard you say thing one about this, and
I'm backed up about 5 issues. I'm kind of looking to the Bloodlines arc because the lineup's changing, and it's a better lineup. I'm really bored with the Superstar lineup. I'm really tired. I think it's time for Black Panther and Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and Thor to not be in the lineup. They've been in the lineup too long. But that's another story. So we're going to go on to Defenders 23, which was published on February 18th, 1975, cover dated May 1975. It has a Gil Kane Klaus Janson cover. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not the biggest Gil Kane fan. I don't dislike Gil Kane. I like Gil Kane when he's on stuff. but Spider-Man is a little. I don't really like him on I like him on Green Lantern. I like him on certain people. And I would take Sal any day over Gil.
Yes.
So, but I love him when he is inked by Klaus Janson, and he did a lot of covers together in this era. Klaus Janson is one of my favorite inkers of all time, because he takes someone's art and he doesn't. He is an embellisher, not just an inker. That's sometimes they're credited as that because they may have done more of the heavy lifting because the penciler just did breakdowns. But it's just a gorgeous cover, and it's got the 4 real defenders battling these tentacles. The story is called "The Snakes Shall Inherit the Earth." Again, it is Steve Gerber writer, Sal Buscema pencils. Am I on the right one? Yes. Vinnie Colletta inks. Don Warfield colors. June Braverman, Gasper Saladino letterers, and then there was some typeset. We'll talk about that. Len Wein was the editor. The fandom lists the roll call as Doc Strange, Hulk, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, Yellowjacket. I don't consider Yellowjacket a member. Members are very specific. I hate to say it, the Wikipedia page, and if you look at the Marvel Universe things, sometimes they don't, I think the next real new member is either Klee or Red Guardian.
Yeah,
Everybody else is just a guest.
Guest member.
Yeah, the guest member. Hellstrom, who's in this story later, becomes a full-blown member.
Yeah.
But Yellowjacket, he's just Gerber's just using him because he's not being used in Avengers. This story ends up with having I think would have been a very cool lineup for the book going forward if you were going to expand it past 4, because it was a really eclectic group of heroes. But we'll get to that. So let's quickly do the synopsis from this one. While on his way to see the Defenders, Yellowjacket happens upon the number of Sons of the Serpents about to attack Doctor Strange's home. Taking them out easily, Yellowjacket manages to nab one of their members and brings him to Strange's sanctum for questioning. They learn that the Sons intend to take over a television station to spread their message of hate. Yellowjacket spots somebody else spying on them and stuns them before they get away. This person turns out to be Jack Norris, Barbara's estranged husband who has come looking for her. The Sun's address on television is one blaming minorities and immigrants for the problems plaguing the United States and declare war against these groups. Going back to the slums, the Defenders end up in a pitched battle against the Suns, who have returned with an arsenal of high-tech weapons. The Defenders are ill-prepared for the assault and are all taken down, even the Hulk. The Suns then take Doctor Strange, Valkyrie, Yellowjacket, and Nighthawk prisoner, leaving the Hulk behind as he turns back into his human form of Bruce Banner. I love this one. It doesn't have a splash page. It has a 4-panel recap, or a 2-page recap. And then you get a splash page. That's the way to do a previously on.
Yep.
I like that a lot. And I do like the cover. I do like the splash page with Yellowjacket jumping down on 2 Sons of the Serpents. So I like this issue a lot. This is one where I don't mind Vinnie's inks that much. But they look okay with the coloring. So how do they look? Because they're pretty heavy. In the Omni, they look pretty heavy.
Okay, I'll get to Vinny real quick in just a sec. I just want to say on the cover, I love the cover, except they give Nighthawk like these 2 pupils, which looks really goofy.
Oh, it looks like he's getting poked in the bum hole.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. What the hell? That is really weird. I've never noticed that.
Sorry, I guess that's one case where it's like
Well, he also has eyes on his little window, his little head bubble. He's got pupils. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Other than that, this will be an A+ cover, except for that, which drags it down just a little bit.
Oh,
but
I didn't even know.
I just needed to mention that.
I just had noticed it until now. Good God. But I think that Vinnie art. I mean, because Vinnie normally is
fine.
loose. It doesn't look loose in this Omni, so I'm a little like, what does it look like in the black and white?
Like it's still like, it doesn't feel like. I don't know if he would typically erase.
He just wouldn't. He wouldn't
of,
ink certain things because they're drawn in blue pencil, so it wouldn't. When they did the photograph of it with the inks, the blue pencil doesn't show up. So he would just not ink shit.
Okay.
He would just not.
Here it looks like he's done his work. So maybe he wasn't as rushed to get this done, even though this is only like an 18-pager, and that's included in the 2 recaps.
Yeah.
So maybe he was able to do a little more to this than he normally would be able to. It's totally fine. I wouldn't want him doing this on the regular.
Well, see, I don't normally like him. I normally and there's some pages and some faces where I see it. But there's some stuff later on with where they're at Holloman's house where there's some texturing, which I've just not seen him do before. So I'm thinking it may be how they reprinted the color and stuff, and maybe some of this omnibus. I mean, it's done in traditional 4-color, but it just looks a little bit better. But I like this. I like how we're getting introduced to Jack. He'll become a big, important part in the comic. Will he be a bit of a whiny prat? Yes, I want my wife back. Well, your wife's dead, dude. This is somebody else. You're getting creepy.
Yeah. And he sticks around for way too long.
Well, he ends up being a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and it gets...
Oh,
so,
God.
So I like that they're too late to stop the plan, and they preempt Johnny, but it's only a guest, so no one cares. It's a guest host, no one cares. And then we have this text page. What did you think of the text page?
Like, I'm glad that they did it in this format rather than trying them to like break it up over a series of 6, 7 panels and just having it being word balloon.
Yeah.
So I kind of, and I know having read a lot of Gerber. Actually, I think all of Gerber's Howard the Duck. This isn't the only time he would kind of do this. Yeah. So it's I got a lot to say. Or have the characters say.
Well, he did it in one was that him? Yeah, he did it in the Giant Size 3, where you see the Game Master recruiting the Defenders and Daredevil, and it's got a whole page of text, rules of the game.
Oh, yep, found it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I like it too. I don't mind it. Because it gets a lot of important conversation out that what the Sons of the Serpents are. Look, they got a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, just like some MAGA whack job. Mm-hmm. So it kind of I like the Sons of the Serpent, and this is one of those stories where I think they work better because it always tends being the same trope at the end.
I was gonna say, how often have these guys fought Captain America?
2 or 3 times, and they fought the Avengers.
Oh, only that?
Yeah, but they fought the Avengers in the issues in not in the 1940s, but in the 40s, like Avengers in the 40s, because Bill Foster's introduced in those kind of stories, who eventually becomes Black Goliath and then Giant Man, and now his nephew is Giant Man, or Goliath. He's one of them, or he's Black Goliath. I don't know. There's so many of them now. It's hard to keep track of who's who in that legacy group. But I liked it that you get that idea and that the battle. They're back in the battle with. They split up with the team up. So Yellowjacket and Hulk go and try to put out the fires of the tenements, where Nighthawk, Valkyrie, and Doc Strange go to Holloman to find out. They think he's manipulating them because that's what the Sons of the Serpents have always been. Someone being used as tool for someone's greed.
Yep.
But it's not that. It's not that. And the Sons of the Serpents have laid a trap, and they capture... I don't get how they stop the Hulk. It's just really... They shoot him a lot with their ray guns, and then they're steel serpents, and it's just enough to where they keep shooting him until he passes out. And they take the 4 white heroes and leave the Hulk as he slowly fades. Again, this moves the plot along, and there's a ton of action. Yellowjacket doesn't feel like, you're adding a piece. Does that make sense?
No.
So...
no, I think I have one of my notes is Ross knows where Yellowjacket is at this point in the Avengers, so I'm like,
yeah, he's out of work.
Yeah,
he's out of work. Well, wait a minute.
I've got one quick question. In mine, again, I'm looking at this in the black and white. It looks like the Sons of the Serpent basically just have Captain Caveman clubs. So I'm going.
No, they got serpent heads. Like? Don't they have serpent? Yeah, they got heads of a serpent. Not... They're more like a Pharaoh's thing. They've got hold on. It's a cobra head. It looks. I know what you're saying. It looks like that, but when you get close to it in a detail shot, it's the head of a cobra.
Okay, because again, maybe this. It just in none of the panels I saw it.
It's barely. I just know that from history, and I think there's.
Okay.
If you go to the last page of the previous issue, you can see it. It's in detail, and now they're not showing it. It's just they're too small.
Okay. I'm looking at the splash page with the Yellowjacket. Okay, I see it there, but unfortunately, like in the final battle, I'm like, wait, why do they have Captain Caveman?
Yeah, it looks like they got state fair turkey legs in their hand. Yellowjacket, I think he's between memberships, or he is an Avenger. I mean, he rejoins them after the Celestial Madonna story and immediately gets hurt, and he's not there for the Serpent Crown affair. You know, him and Janet are recovering.
Right.
So.
I did want to say, when they go to the Holloman's place, one of my favorite bits is like he slams the door in their face, and then like Doc Strange is like, "I'm not putting up with this." Astral projects and like freaks them the hell out, and I just thought that was a really kind of clever use of powers there.
Oh, I liked it too. That really got me. That really got me too. I like that. It's like I don't have time for this, so it was just perfect. And Holloman sucks because he's a Weasley. He's not the bad guy. He's not smart enough. Oh, I know exactly. Okay, hold on a second. So this is November. I'm actually looking up when this issue came out. This is February. Oh, wow. Avengers 133. I think it's around Avengers 133. This is probably right around when he rejoined.
Oh, okay.
So, hold on a second.
So this is back kind of when they cared about where characters were actually appearing.
Yeah, well, the continuity's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the longer I read, it's like, oh man, they did it as long as they could. I mean, I saw the stuff about the Absolute line for DC, and it's not a line, it's an event, and it's just I don't think it's a reboot. I just think they're taking some of Wade's fresh ideas that he's been doing and kind of integrating them into continuity.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that.
Which for that, I'm just glad to see Martian Manhunter on the freaking League prominently again.
Yeah. I'd like to see. I don't need the Big Seven, but I would like to see some of the Big Seven.
Yeah, I'm tired of the Big Seven lineup in Justice League, but again, that's a discussion we have for another day.
Yeah. But so he hasn't rejoined yet. The Celestial Madonna is still going on about this, so he's about to rejoin and then get injured, and then by Englehart starts getting about 10 heroes around. And then Shooter and Conway create the lineup after he leaves, which is Beast, Yellowjacket, Wasp, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, Cap. The 7, which becomes a basic formula for decades, the 7, which I kind of like. I like 7 or 8. I like having a big enough team that you can't. Not everybody has to appear everything. So, but we're watching the opposite of this because now there are 5 heroes, and in the next issue we're gonna get 3 more.
Yep.
So we're gonna go on to Defenders 23. Oh, let's talk. Okay, we talked about Vinny's Inks. Now this is where I'm gonna be a little mean. So.
Oh, so
wait a minute.
This is
no,
where
no,
I
no,
think.
no. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get to it. I was doing some stupid. Here we go. All right. So this is Defenders 24. Was published on March 18th, 1975. Cover dated June 1975. Defenders line up, in the fandom, it's called In the Jaws of the Serpent. Writer Steve Gerber. It's another Gil Kane, Klaus Johnson, and John Romita.
He think he did the Hulk face on this.
Yes, I think
cover.
Yeah, he definitely did. He definitely did. Hold on, let me look at the cover big
And I think he might have also done the Luke Cage one on this one too.
Maybe he did.
No, that's Kane.
Yeah.
That's a Kane Luke Cage.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a Romita. It's a Romita face. Pencils Sal Buscema, writer Steve Gerber, inker Bob McLeod, colorist Phil Rachelson, Tom Orzechowski, letterer, one of the masters, and of course Glenn One. And the lineup is Doctor Strange, Hulk, Valkyrie, Yellowjacket, Nighthawk, and Yellowjacket. Then with Power Man, Daredevil, and the Son of Satan or Hellstrom. I like this issue a great deal because, one, I'd forgotten that. Oh, synopsis, hold on. With Doctor Strange, Valkyrie, Yellowjacket, and Nighthawk, prisoners of the Sons of the Serpent, Bruce Banner rushes to Doctor Strange's sanctum for help. With Clea's aid, Bruce summons past Defender associates Power Man, Son of Satan, and Daredevil to aid in rescuing the captured Defenders. While they fill in the Defenders' questions, wow, man, the typos in this fandom wiki is terrible. While they are filled in on the Defenders' questions, well, I have no idea what they meant on this. Well, the captured, I'm just going to edit this in my head. The captured Defenders members are location the circuit where they try to figure out where the Defenders are captured. The captured Defenders are revived to find that Valkyrie is missing. Yellowjacket tries to free the others. They also learn that they are somewhere underwater. Back in Doctor Strange's sanctum, as the interrogation fails, the Defenders hear a news report of the Sons of the Serpents about to sacrifice Valkyrie on an inverted cross. Comic-Con approved? Banner changes into the Hulk, and the Defenders that are not captured rush to their rescue. On the way, Son of Satan and Power Man are teleported elsewhere. During their battle, the Hulk is struck blind by one of the Serpent's weapons, and Daredevil is easily overpowered. Yes, it is. This says in the fandom wiki notes, Hulk head by Romita. Dragonfang was captured by the Sons of the Serpents in the last issue. Their weapon will return and be present next issue. Okay, I didn't know that. I like this cover. It's a little busy, but it's got everybody on it. So if you're a Marvel fan, you go, ooh, Daredevil. You know, they're trying to, this is a very 70s lineup. Yeah,
oh, no, yeah, you got Luke Cage before he teams up with Iron Fist. You got, I guess Satanic Panic was more 80s? I don't know, that's where my history is kind of
late 70s, 80s, yeah. And he's an early 80s Defenders when him and Hellcat are married, right?
Because Hellcat doesn't show up till the 40s, I think, and he joins later and they get married, and that's definitely by the 80s at that point.
Yeah.
But horror's big in the 70s in comics, so that makes total sense.
But they're wrapped up in the snake things motif on these metal pods. Oh, and Yellowjacket can't shrink because he twisted his ankle.
I was trying in all the Avengers. I was trying to remember if something like that had come up before.
No. It's terrible. I'd never remembered that, and I read it this time and went, ooh, that's really a lame. How shouldn't it be a button instead of a concentrate? Oh, but by this point he does it at will. He doesn't need the pin. He's got so many pin particles in him that he just wills himself to shrink and grow.
Yeah, this issue has a bunch of, we need to kind of have our most powerful characters and Yellowjacket not just immediately break this story and make it a 3-parter and make it a 4.
Yeah, it's padding it, but I like it. I like that they.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I've seen way worse padding. Right. Trust me.
Yeah, I like that we get their plan about burning them out of the tenements to herd the black and brown people out of the city into the suburbs, so it'll piss off the white folk in the suburbs, so the white folks in the suburbs will murder them for them.
Jesus Christ!
It's just. You know what? But I understand. I think dumb white racists are that stupid. That is the stupidest plan in the world.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, no. No argument.
Yeah.
So, real quick, is this the issue where you had some things to say?
I do not like Bob McLeod's inks on it. I think they're heavy-handed. I think there's some faces that are terrible. If you go to the page where it's not everywhere, it's just certain places, like Clea when she's talking to Bruce and she's looking for the other members.
I actually really kind of like the inks in this issue.
Oh, God,
I really do.
They look very, I don't know, they take a lot of the Sal out, I think. And I think that's my problem.
They make it a little more like kind of Neil Adams-y.
I was thinking I think he's doing a little more Ramita, like some of the Daredevil or Bob Brown. I think he's trying to make the characters look like they look. McLeod is trying to get them to match their own books.
Okay.
But I don't know. To me, it really bugged me. And I like Bob McLeod inks. And I liked it when he was on New Mutants. He penciled New Mutants. He's one of the creators of New Mutants. And I love him. And I liked him inking. He was good on Layton. He was good on J.R. Jr. I think he's good on certain people. I just don't like him on... There's some panels in this that really just bug me.
I don't know. To me, again, looking in the black one, he added a lot of like shadow and detail that I wasn't getting in the prior two issues. So I think
maybe
really
there's something about it that I'm seeing it in this, and I don't have the. Okay, hold on. But she's showing me something. Hold on a second. I'm gonna expand the screen. What? Oops. What did I do? Oops.
Yeah, so I'm trying to show Rasa these two panels where the captured son of the Serpent is being interrogated and just kind of the weird, like, heavily enshadowed look they've got.
Hold on, let me get to that one.
Yep.
Which is it? Hold on. I can't find. Hold on, I'm looking for it. Is it before she summons everybody or after?
It's after, because it's Hellstrom's trying to do a mind whammy on him right before Luke Cage.
Oh no, those panels I loved. See, that I knew was Layton because he's using an overlay. That's what causes that shading. It's a physical overlay.
Oh,
and that's something an inker of his generation would use more often. It's like a zipatone. It's like a transparency, in a way.
Okay.
No, I love that. No. And I liked it when we see them on the TV. I think the colorist, Phil Rachelson, does a good job that the TV screen, everything's in blue tones.
Again, I'll have to take your word for it.
Oh, no, it's beautiful. And also that transformation of the Hulk underneath it, I think the inks on that is really good.
Yes.
So I'm just thinking there's certain ones that I think it really distracted me more often than not. But I like how they assemble everybody. Yellowjacket gets them out, one group out, but the team, we get help. She basically pages 5 heroes, and only 3 of them show up. She sends out a psychic message to. Oh no, it was 6 because Silver Surfer, Submariner, Hawkeye, who are actual defenders, and then the 3 that aren't defenders show up.
And let's see. Then because I guess it was too much of a strain. It's like, well, luckily, Luke Cage is in the yellow pages or the directory assistants, which I can safely say this is my age. I've never used a directory assistant.
The operator. That's all. It's just a fancy term for operator. You would just
call
that doesn't
change my answer.
Yeah. That's just to say you used to actually pick one. You could sometimes have options: directory assistants, police, because we didn't have but here 911 hadn't been invented.
Oh, I'm learning.
You would have to dial the operator and say, "Put me through to the police department," or dial them directly. So you would call and you would get directory assistant, the operator, and they would transfer you. And sometimes for out of state calls, you still had to do it. I don't really remember having to ask them to dial for you, but my parents did. So.
Sorry, maybe this was just something I have seen like in Andy Griffith shows, and just like, oh well, that's just Mayberry.
It was, depending on how big the city is, but basically. But that's. But I like. But how they get them? Magical spell. phone calls, and then Yellowjacket finding they're underwater. Of course, it's an underwater base.
Yeah. I do like that, like, Luke Cage was going, like, he's not taking any cases because he's already working to, like, beat the crap out of the Sons of the Serpent, which, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you needed at least, like, one black superhero in this, and, like, Luke is probably one of the best picks for this story.
Oh, yeah.
Because besides him already having worked with them.
Oh, yeah, well, it's so white. I mean, everybody's white.
Yeah, no,
but I like this. I like Jack. I mean, Jack goes rushing into battle. What I don't get is the Hellstrom and Luke Cage take Hellstrom's chariot from hell to look for the other heroes. But they're not trying to. They're captured. They're being pulled to something and that leaves it just Hulk, Daredevil, and Daredevil and Jack Norris to try to rescue Valkyrie
on the inverted cross,
how did that get past?
How did that pass?
I don't know, but I like this. I think again, it's got a lot of. You could read it. You could jump into this comic for the first time. You get enough flashback. You get a good group of heroes, and I like how the main team has been captured, and the Hulk has to recruit replacements.
Yeah. Which, I mean, he's as Banner for a lot of this issue.
Oh, most
I think
of it.
More than we'll see sometimes. Yeah.
Most of it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. There's some good. There is some good. It's some good Sal storytelling. So now we're going to move on to the last one, issue 25.
Best cover.
Yeah, it is. This is a classic cover. That should have been like I got the omnibus cover. It's from. I don't know what it's from, but it's got the 6 Avengers defenders at the time. Valkyrie in her gold costume, Hulk, Luke Cage, Nighthawk, Doc Strange, and the female Red Guardian, who is a character who needs to come back.
Yep. Oh, sorry. I was looking at another. I found that's the cover to the. Oh crap! Oh, Ross, did I lose you?
No. You're still with me.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's the cover to the volume 3 of the Essentials.
Oh, and it's Defenders Annual #1's cover. Okay, because that's on the back of this, so that's cool. I like that cover. I love that Red Guardian. I love that character so much.
She was really good.
Yeah,
but that'll be for a later episode down the line.
Oh my God, she's in it for a while. I forget how long she's in it. So.
Yep.
This final chapter was cover dated July 1975. Released on April 15th, 1975. It has a Gilcan, Frank Giacomo, John Romita, and Danny Crispy cover. Hulk and Power Man heads are by Romita. Okay.
Yeah, and you can really tell.
Yeah, they're Romita heads. It's a really good. She's still in the inverted cross, but it's everybody coming to save her. Well, it's Hellstrom, Doc Fate, the Hulk, Daredevils, who's unconscious, Valkyrie, and Power Man. The title of the story is The Serpent Sheds Its Skin. Roll call again is Doc Strange, Hulk, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, along with Yellowjacket, Son of Satan, Power Man, Daredevil. Writer Steve Gerber, penciler Sal Buscema, inker Jack Abel, colorist Petra Goldberg, letterer Roy Holloway, and editor Len Wein. And the synopsis for this one, hold on a second, please be another short one. Yes, it is. Son of Satan and Power Man are transported via Clea's magic and the Eye of Agamotto to the location of the captured defenders and free them from captivity. Meanwhile, a blind Hulk and Daredevil continue to battle the Sons of Serpent to save Valkyrie with the help of Jack Norris. During the fight, Hulk's vision returns and Dee and Jack manage to battle the Serpents into retreat and save Valkyrie. In a California trailer park, an elf with a gun kills a young couple. I forgot about the elf with the gun, and this is his first appearance.
Yep.
While exploring the Serpent space, the other defenders find a secret passage leading to the office of J.C. Pennyworth, Kyle Richmond's aide, and discover evidence that proves Pennyworth has been using Richmond's fortune to fund Sons of the Serpent. Confronting Pennyworth and asking him why he joined a white supremacist group when he's black, this is the second time this has happened with the Sons of Serpents, he explains that he's trying to escape his own people, After confronting Pennyworth, the group dismantles the rest of the Sons of Serpents. However, it is a sour victory for Nighthawk, who flies away after the battle. Yeah, I have some questions about that, and I don't get the little mini trip they've created for these villains. But I love the splash page because it explains where Hellstrom and Cage went. It was Clea casting a spell.
And I love how they show them coming out of the Eye of Agamotto as it's just like a fiery bursting forth, while Hellstrom is in his like devil chariot, wherever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's Hellstrom mobile, and they break everybody out. And now these 5 heroes have to figure a way to get to help. Let's talk about the inker, Jack Abel. I'm not a big Jack Abel fan. I find his inks blah. And
he makes everyone kind of more stiff than I think they normally are.
Yeah, I think he's just not inking everything. I just think he's one of those inkers, and that's all right. It's fine. I'm not going to bash an artist for everything, but it's just sometimes I miss inkers in comics. Sometimes I miss that variance and that collaborative thing, but I don't miss these things where it's just someone who's in there to knock it out. So. What I do like is they ask there's a line on when they rescued in Yellowjacket because I can't believe it. You have as many members of the Avengers, maybe more. This is the discussion. Wait, Henry Pym. It's like, yeah, you're not all Defenders, but I would have liked these guys as permanent members. But this is a good team. This is a good lineup.
Mm-hmm.
You could take Nighthawk out for a while and have Daredevil fill in, or Yellowjacket. But if you wanted to get this to 6 people, I think Daredevil's the most expendable.
Yeah. And I don't know when that Frank Miller run starts, but
no, not for about 5 more years.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't be an issue then, really. Just because I know that goes some places.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's like he was never really a team member until Bendis said screw it. He ends up being an Avenger.
An Avenger.
Yeah, some of those choices were fine. I just think there've been too many people since Bendis. They've added this too many people have become Avengers.
Yeah.
So, but I like this lineup. I like how it works. It's very 1970s. It's a very 70s comic in a good way. Where they're talking about the inner strife of the city. All these city-based heroes, except for maybe, Hellstrom and Yellowjacket, they're all New York-based heroes.
Yep. I'm sorry, my brain is still just stuck on how they got the inverted cross on the cover and have that be. I'm sorry, my brain is just knock it over them getting past that.
And does she have fire retardant costume and hair? Because she's been hanging up above an open flame for a while, and her hair is still not burning.
She's a god.
Yeah. What I like about so I want to get to the point to where the Sons of the Serpents think it's going to work, but the white people in the city.
There's a panel that would not be, or there's a speech balloon that would not be published.
Oh yeah, well, we're going to talk about it. I love it. I don't know what page it is. It's because I don't have the page number, so it's.
Yeah, there's no page numbers on
no.
either.
So 1, 2, 4, 6. 7 on page 7 on the top, it's the crowd, and there's some narration, and his action touches a nerve. He's talking about Jack Norris, who's grabbed the guy trying to make sure that the funeral the Valkyrie burns at the stake. Yeah, he knocks this guy down and knocks the torch out of his hand. And his action touches a nerve, and the citizens amassed along the sidewalk because they're New Yorkers. They're watching someone get burned. No. And what they see is not a husband driven to protect his wife, but simply a man like themselves with no special powers who's willing to defy the serpent's brutality. And if he can do it, and then one of the bystanders, very Aryan-looking gentleman, what's the matter with us? What's the matter is one word. What's the matter with us? I mean, I got no love for the N-I ... but the blacks, and then another guy, right. You gotta burn them alive just because you don't like them? Come on. And then the Sons of the Serpents, because they're stupid white trash and racist, are going, stop, what are you doing? Taking back our city. And yeah, New York's got enough trouble without you bums. And then basically a full-scale riot happens. And they're beating up the Nazis. Basically, you punch a fascist. That is more likely to happen. There was a little,
Yep. No, I think it's a good, okay, they're not, I feel you kind of, this is Gerber, I feel you couldn't just have the superheroes solve the problem. You need to show that.
No, and I think he's trying to make a comment, as much as people are different and don't understand each other and don't intermix with one another, because there is self-segregation that white people do it. It's called the suburbs and redlining. So it's not, and it happened in New York. It still happens in big cities where people kind of go and live in areas where they see people like them just because they feel safer, and it's sad. But also, I think that people are at heart. He wants to show that people aren't as racist. But I'm not going to show everybody as this angelic, perfect version of ourselves.
Nope.
Which is what you get with like some 40s comics. And I think what Gerber and writers in the 70s were trying to do is going, hey, we still got some problems. And that's what the Son of the Serpents are great at. What bugs me is they follow, as the heroes that were at the secret base follow the tunnel and come up, and they come up inside Pennyworth's office, and Nighthawk freaks out, and they find, Dragon Fang and Nighthawk's wings and Yellowjacket's pistol.
Which was a little too coincidental for me. I'm sorry. I know you gotta move the story along, but I wasn't a fan of that.
No, it is. It really bugs me. Then you get the one panel of the elf with the gun, folks, and it's just Google elf with the gun. He just shows up in Defenders over the next few years, killing random people. And
unfortunately,
then it jammed in me. He writes it out later at the end of the book series, right?
No, I think it's actually first David Anthony Kraft. Spoiler alert, folks, for a comic older than I am. First he has the elf with the gun get run over by a truck. Then DeMatteis tries to salvage it by saying oh, he was killing people that were affecting the time stream or some such. So
yeah, well, I don't know what
Gerber was going to do. We don't know.
Yeah, and he's no longer with us. So what happens is we find out that he's in Pennyworth's office, his financial guy, because early in the story he says, I don't deal with the business, talk to Pennyworth, which is kind of
which was a nice bit of foreshadowing. I like that they did at least name drop Pennyworth earlier on in this story.
He's been mentioned before. He's mentioned in the Giant Size. You just see someone you've never seen, so you don't even know he's black.
Right.
And then he's, it's a horrible thing. It's like, is every white man your brother? Do you feel kinship? He doesn't feel kinship because he's a rich elitist jackass, and that's why he's doing it. And he's black. I don't know what point Gerber is trying to say that you just needed the racist bad guys. I don't.
Yeah.
Why does he have to be black other than get beat up? Once by Kyle, and then Luke just punches him in the face.
Yeah, no. This is a very 70s. This part is very white guy writing in the 70s, I think.
And the intention is good, but I just think there's no reason for and this is the second time this has happened. And I think it happens in the Roy Thomas, John Buscema era. Because they appear once when it's Thomas and Heck, and then they come back and it's Thomas and Buscema. And I think the lineup is Black Panther, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Goliath, and Quicksilver. So I don't know. I think it's kind of silly. I think, that part bugs me. But you do get an end battle where you get a 2-page spread where all these heroes are kicking the racist bad guys thing.
Oh, I love this too. Even just in black and white, I really like this spread where everyone's just kicking ass and looking really good doing it.
Yeah, I like that when you see Yellowjacket flying, he doesn't shoot the blast from his hands, he shoots them from a ray gun. And you can see the lines by his the wings that come off his shoulders are vibrating. That's how he's flying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how he flies.
Okay.
Those things vibrate.
Oh. How did I read a decade's worth of Avengers and not pick up?
Because it's mentioned twice early on. And he was Yellowjacket for so long. So for me, this was great because he was Yellowjacket for like the first 15 years I was reading comics. Now he jumps around and he's become such a tragic character.
I like the Yellowjacket persona the most, I think.
I do too. Yeah. I do like his late 80s, early 90s Giant Man run a little bit.
Okay. I also liked him when he was the Fourth Doctor in that West Coast story.
I do like that. And that's the action figure. I wish that was the action figure in that 4-piece set. But and it ends up with Kyle leaving, and we don't see anything about these other members because the next is Giant Size 5, and it is the beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy story. So your extra defenders will be the Guardians. But overall, I like this arc. I think the art's it's Sal. I love Sal's run on Defenders. I think his Hulk run and his Rom run are the best. How are you enjoying Rom?
So I finished.
See, I haven't even finished the Omnibus. We'll do an episode on.
We'll get to it in a few minutes, but yeah, no, I think this arc is really good. And again, this is one of my first, just because of what I said earlier, this is one of my first reads. It's definitely one of the more grounded Defenders stories.
It is it's one of the more traditional. But it's good. It is a message story. It has the problems of 70 white savior crap. I know what they're going for. I think the intent is I think it's very well intentioned, but I think it's a very liberal white man trying to tell the story and make both sides have bad guys and both sides have good guys. And I don't think you need to do that when it comes to racism. You don't need an allegory. You don't need to tweak it. It's 1975. The Civil Rights Act is 11 years old. Jim Crow is not completely dead. But there is a lot of racial animosity, especially in New York, and in cities where there's been a lot of destruction after the Martin. You got to think that this 75. I grew up outside D.C. There are areas of D.C. that burned in '69 during the Martin Luther King riots when he was murdered, that were not rebuilt, and New York was spiraling into bankruptcy. They've just been saved. And the city was falling apart. That was a lot of neighborhoods were so run down that buildings had been condemned and torn down, and people were living. It was just the economy was terrible. I mean, I remember this year. I was 9 years old. I remember, and everything. We drove cross country in '73, and the whole country smelled like a diaper pail because it was just we didn't clean up shit. We didn't clean up after ourselves. But there are all these things. But I think this is, like you said, it's well grounded. It's solidly written. It's a good group of heroes. It's so it is. It's got such. I like this more than I like the Avengers Defenders War in some ways. I like it better than the storyline that's coming up next. And I do like these these early Guardians of the Galaxy stories. And I do think it's the really kind of it and the Guardians are the last time we see Gerber do something as straightforward as this. Because he starts to push it. He starts pushing the envelope, and he's trying to push the envelope on this.
But it's in a Howard the in All in the Family pushing the envelope versus a Grant Morrison pushing the envelope. If that makes sense. Yeah.
It is very much that. I think the Headman arc, the Bozo cult, all these great things that are coming up. From his fertile imagination, but he could write a solid. I think it's a great comic. Well, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just pretty much co-sign on that. Like I said, it's a good it's well drawn throughout, even with kind of the inker issues.
Yeah, God, inker of the month, man. See, that's why they used to have inkers, man, because you didn't have. See, that's what I think. What hurts Defenders at times is.
It was kind of the B League.
I think it was. I think it always was. It was a team I liked because it was B heroes. I'm always a big fan of Avengers lineups that have second stringers.
Yep.
I like the redemption thing. It's kind of why I like Nighthawk. Yes, he's a spoiled rich guy, and boo-hoo, should we feel sorry for him? No, but he means well. He's just an incompetent white guy. I think he's a little stupider than Jack Norris. Jack Norris, there's a line in this where she says, "Take your hands off me," because he doesn't. I mean, and he's a character that is would not be written nowadays, or it would be a different story. but he's grieving. So there is something to it. He doesn't really, he sees his wife. He should be acting. Yes, a magical spell. She died. She was a horrible cultist and got what she deserved, and now I'm using her body, which is what has happened. So he doesn't have to understand that. But he does end up, you really want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
And Jack, I mean, I think I'm that way with Kyle, but Kyle was my guy.
Like I have such like you said, Kyle is a dullard, but he's a fun dullard. If that makes you know.
Yeah. He never really gets a grasp of how to be a good hero.
No, I don't like. In kind of what you said, one of the reasons the Defenders is my favorite Marvel team is because again, I like the Justice League International. I like when it's the weirder characters that you can do more with because you have Hulk who was. He was on the show was either out or just about to be out, but it's like he wasn't overshadowing everyone else. No. Valkyrie was allowed to have her.
She has a great art. I think she's a great character, and I think Gerber writes her well. She questions who she is. She is not afraid to go into a fight. I think she's not a perfect women's liberation kind of character, but I think
again it's a guy writing.
It's a guy writing, but I think she's more. She has agency, but she also has a journey to go on because she doesn't know who she is, which makes her interesting.
Right. And
they deal with it. And she has to make decisions. Do I want to be more person? So eventually she goes to college to learn to be. I don't have a personality. Where do I begin? All I know is from when I took over this body. And it's not until even after David Anthony Kraft before... I think it's Perlin and Dee Matisse who really bring out the mythology in her, which is years from now.
Oh, like a decade.
Yeah, but I like her in this. This is where I like her, and I will say this: I've liked all three versions of Valkyrie because I like how when they wanted to bring the movie one into the Marvel Universe, so they did it in a reboot of Exiles, that she was an alternate reality one. And that anybody can be a Valkyrie. This Valkyrie just happens to be Broomhilda. And I love it when she becomes a secret Avenger and then an Avenger in the early is that the 2010s or something?
Sounds about right.
I think Rick Remender wrote it when, and it was when Hickman was writing Avengers. If not, maybe I would love them to put that all in one volume. It would be one I bought because she's in it and Agent Venom. Flash Thompson.
Oh, that was like Flash. Yeah.
I liked him. That's someone. I very rarely have liked Venom, but I liked that eclectic group of secret Avengers. But overall, I think the story's really good, and I think it holds up. And the next one's fun. We go from racists battling in bad neighborhoods in New York to 30th century freedom fighters. That's what was good about Defenders, because they would go. I mean, that's a turn on a dime that Gerber's going to do. I'm going to do a Guardian. Oh, Guardians! They've only appeared a couple times. Let's use them. And this is this before or after the Marvel 2-in-1 stuff with Cap?
Good question. I'd
have to go grab it. I'd trade it. Yeah, I think they're around it. One right before the other, and then they'll appear about 2 or 3 years later in Avengers. That's when they pop up in that. But I liked it. So since we talked about Sal and under the peer pressure that I have exerted on poor Kirby, he got his Romnibus after listening to people gush about it. What did you think?
Okay, so again, Ross, you're not the first person to peer pressure me about Rom. Just
I don't feel any guilt. Don't think I feel any guilt at all.
So I'm going to get the one bad thing out of the way first. I love the fact it's set in West Virginia. yeah. But it is clearly written and drawn by people who have never set foot in West Virginia.
Written by people who never left the borough of Manhattan.
Like, I'm glad that no one is like that they're not talking phonetically redneck or anything like that.
They're pretty nice to them. It's just everybody's nice. It's a bunch of small town America. No one's racist. they love their neighbors, but they just didn't realize their neighbors are aliens.
Right.
But it's a very almost like a 50 science fiction movie.
Yeah, no. It's closer to that. And there were just a lot of things throughout this omnibus where I'm like, you take that University of Michigan crap off that kid's wall, you put up a flying WV or at least a Marshall pennant.
Yeah, goddamn.
So there were just a bunch of little things like that where I'm like, oh, bless your Manhattan heart.
Oh, yeah, Michigan's
you're trying,
near,
but you're not close.
Oh, what gets me is like...
And not one pickup truck. Not one.
No, everybody's driving some Toyota or something. It's really...
Or sedans.
Yeah, and where stuff is, I mean, I guess West Virginia is that close to D.C. because they get to D.C. pretty quickly. It's not that far away.
Yeah, no,
but I like that it's not New York. I do like that.
I do. Yeah, I do. So because they do name drop Lansing, West Virginia, and then they say it's about 200 miles. I double checked. That is pretty accurate, give or take. So credit where it's due.
So they looked on a map.
They looked on a map, so I'll give them that.
But they didn't do any of their homework. But you know what? Hey, I'm from Virginia. We always bad, but it's.
There's no internet for them to do quick Google searches. I get that.
Yeah, it's a New York library system. Jesus Christ. Paying in. Well, they didn't have interns back then. But I'm glad you're liking it. I think it's Bill Mantlo. It's solid scripting. They're interesting. Yeah, no, really. Like, what do you think of the characters?
I'm sorry, Ross. I mean,
no, sorry.
But yeah, no, I just want to say, this was a good to pick up every issue. Every issue has about a page or two of recap from the previous, story or two. So it's a good, just like, what's my buddy Rom doing? And again, the art by Sal Buscema, where he's inking himself for like the first 20 issues, is just goddamn beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really good. It's so good.
Yep, and the weakest part of the Rom thing is where he kind of has to follow what the toy looks like, where he has like these weird midden hands.
Yeah, and the toy's dead by the toy's not even on the market by the time you get to Sal's ink sleeving. I mean, he's not yet. Yeah. I think it's good. I like the characters. I like what is it, Brittany and her boyfriend. Brandy and her boyfriend.
And Steve Jackson, which my brain kept going Steve Jackson Games.
Okay. So. But I'm jumping in and out of it. I think I'm up to about issue 12, and my Micronauts omnibus is in the mail. It's been delayed till next week though. But I'm glad you got it. It's going to be fun. It's a fun ride, and then there's some okay Ditko later on. Okay Ditko. I'm not a big fan of Ditko later in his career. He can draw he's a good substitute for Sal when Sal leaves. I'm glad you're reading it. It's fun. It is fun. It is fun.
Like, it's a good early 80s Marvel comic and with a consistent team, and that's just kind of what's nice about it. It's like I said, what's my buddy Rom up to this week?
It's really good. I like there's some drama. I mean, he's the monster trapped in the body. You got the other Space Knights. There's the thug who becomes the firebrand or whatever and then dies. Yeah. That's a nice story. He's an unlikable character who ends up being a hero.
Yeah. Oh, there is some stuff in here. Before I forget, that I'm like, how this is in a toy tie-in comic where one of the Dire Wraiths, for long story short, has clearly shot himself in the head. And I'm like, how? Wow, I did not expect it to go that hard. Or there's another story where Rom is fighting a lizard, like a dinosaur monster, and he was the last of his kind. He falls onto a stalagmite.
He's a Ms. Marvel villain. He's a Ms. Marvel, Ms. Marvel. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there was no editor's note, which I was disappointed in here.
I think Cochran designed that character.
That makes perfect sense. So, but it's like, I am now going to join the rest of them. I'm like, wow, I did not expect it to go this hard, because I've read some like early, Transformers, and like those are.
No, this is really.
Read this.
Well, you'll notice that it's like G.I. Joe was a big hit, but that was Larry Hama. Mm-hmm. Okay,
He's a better writer. Who's a much better writer than some of those early Transformers ones.
And then Mantlo did both this and Micronauts, and they were huge sellers. Micronauts a huge hit, and this was a pretty good hit. I mean, it ran for, I haven't read. What did you think of that Power Man Iron Fist? Because you probably never seen that, or do you?
Oh no, I actually have, because I have that. I got that years ago as I back issue hunting. So that was the first place I ever met Rom, and in that issue, they do good to go like, this is Rom's deal. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and
cool.
Isn't that Greg LaRocque art?
Yeah, it's Greg LaRocque, and I can't remember who's inking, but it's good art. Throughout, and this covers, I think, first 29 issues. So I'll be picking up. I got the one. I think it's a.
Yeah, no, that's the one I got. That's the house ad.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I was wondering, because it looked like the first issue, but they clearly had changed the word. So if it's the house ad,
that makes perfect sense. A month or two before it came out. Yeah. So it's a Sal cover. Yeah. I had to get the Sal cover on that one. I don't know which. I'm getting it from Pat at Velocity Comics. I think I just said just pick one.
Yeah, because I know, like, this came out with like 4 variants. Like the first issue, a George Perez one, and I can't remember what the last one was. But
that's a Miller. No, Miller's the issue number 1. Yeah,
first
I'm not
issue.
Sure. Maybe another Miller. But okay. It's worth it.
But I'm like, let me go with. I'll go with the exterior matching the interior on that. So.
Well, all right. So that's it for this week, folks. I'm not sure when I'm going to drop this. It'll probably be a week after we record it, because I do have something for this weekend. I'm going to go to a movie with my wife and then record an episode when I get back. It's the last 2 days of my vacation. Boo-hoo. So thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, Kirby, and we still have to do a 4 for 4 this month. I just haven't had a chance to kind of plan it, and I got some other suggestions we'll talk about later. But thanks for coming on again.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you for having me back, Ross. Anytime.
All right, folks. As always, be safe, be smart, be kind to one another, please. Don't be a son of the serpent or a Karen of the serpents. And read some comics. Read some Sal Buscema comics.